On inconsistency. People are ready to acknowledge some of their faults, but will admit to others only with reluctance. No one, at any rate, will admit to being stupid or obtuse. On the contrary, you hear people on every side saying, "If only I had as much luck as I have sense." Shyness, they will concede, saying, "I'm a bit timid, I know, but I'm nobody's fool for all that." Hardly anyone admits to a lack of self-control. No one at all will admit to being unjust. Few will say that they are nosy or envious, but most will allow that they are liable to feel pity. What's the cause of all this? Mainly, it's inconsistency and confusion with regard to what is good and bad. But though values differ as a rule, people will admit to practically nothing that they regard as dishonorable. Timidity they take to be the sign of a sensitive nature. Pity, too. But stupidity they look on as the mark of a slave. Nor are they quick to confess to selfish or asocial behavior. In general, where people are led to acknowledge a fault, it is because they imagine there is something involuntary about it. So it is with shyness and pity. Even if they confess to a lack of self-control, love is usually blamed to gain sympathy for something supposedly beyond our control. Injustice, on the other hand, they don't consider involuntary in any sense. But jealousy, in their view, has an instinctive air about it, so they will own up to that too. Surrounded as we are by such people, so confused, so ignorant of what they're saying and whatever faults they may or may not have, where those faults came from, and how to get rid of them, I think we too should make a habit of asking ourselves, could it be that I'm one of them too? What illusion about myself do I entertain? How do I regard myself? As another wise man? As someone with perfect self-control? Do I, too, ever make that boast about being prepared for whatever may happen? If I don't know something, am I properly aware that I don't know it? Do I come to a teacher as ready to submit to his instruction as if it issued from an oracle? Or am I one of those little snots who attend school for the sole purpose of memorizing its doctrines and becoming familiar with books previously unknown to me, so that, God willing, I can lecture on them to others? Look, back home, you and your slave have come to blows. Your whole household is in disarray, and you're practically at war with your neighbors. Now you come to me all dignified and scholarly, and take your seat to give a critique of my commentary on the text, or, shall I say, of whatever nonsense came into my head to say on that score? You arrived full of envy and embarrassment because you're not getting an allowance from home, and sit through the round of lectures and discussions, thinking about nothing except how things stand between you and your father or brother. How are the people back home talking about me? Even now they imagine that I'm making progress in my studies, and are saying, "He'll come back knowing everything." Well, I guess at one time I had hoped that I would know everything by the time I got back, but it requires a lot of work, and I never get any help from home, and the public baths here in Nicopolis are filthy. Things are no better here than home. So next they start saying, no one is better off for attending school. Yes, well, who is it that goes to school anyway? Who goes to become a better person? Who goes prepared to have their opinions overhauled and to learn which ones need to be? So don't be disappointed if you return home with the very same set of ideas you arrived with, because you had no intention of changing, correcting, or adopting others in their place. Come. You weren't close to holding that intention. So at least consider this. Are you getting what you did come for? You want to be able to hold forth on speculative topics. Well, aren't you becoming more facile every day? And these topics, don't they furnish you with enough material to make an impression in public? You're analyzing syllogisms and changing arguments. You're exploring the premises of the liar argument and hypotheticals. So what's left to complain about if you have what you're here for? Yes, but what good will all this do me when a child of mine dies, or if my brother or I myself have to die or be tortured? Nothing. Because that's not why you came. Not why you took your seat in front of me. Not the reason you sometimes sacrificed sleep to study by lamplight. Did you ever go out into the courtyard and challenge yourself with an external impression in place of a syllogism, and work through it in public? Did you ever do that? Then you say the speculative topics are useless. Useless to whom? Only to people who don't use them as they should. I mean, salves and ointments are not useless to people who apply them when and how they're supposed to. Weights are not useless in themselves. They're useful to some people, worthless to others. Now ask me whether syllogisms are useful, and I'll tell you that they are, and if you like, I'll demonstrate why. Well, what good have they done me? But you didn't ask if they were useful to you personally, but useful in general. Let somebody suffering from indigestion ask me whether vinegar is useful. I will say yes. So, is it useful to me? To you, no. You need to have the discharge from your eyes stopped first, and your skin lesions healed. All of you. First attend to your wounds, stanch the bleeding, calm your mind. Bring it to school when it is free of distraction. Only then will you be in a position to realize reason's potential.